Hey guys, first Regardsman here, and I'll be talking about every single new heroic weapon and explaining their heroic perk effects in the patch 11.0 PTS server. Now this time around we got 6 new heroic weapons, starting off with the Bolt Sniper Rifle, Instigator Bolt Carbine, Heavy Bolt Pistol, Heavy Bolter, Thunder Hammer, and Power Fist. Now, in my opinion, the weakest one currently is the Heavy Bolt Pistol, and the strongest one is the Bolt Sniper Rifle. Unfortunately, we cannot actually use the Thunder Hammer in the PTS right now because it's bugged. You can't actually select it. But this one's actually pretty self-explanatory. There isn't like a ton of fixing that needs to be done on this one, or excuse me, like testing on this. Now, the Bolt Sniper Rifle, this one is one I want to cover first. It says, after performing a headshot, one round is automatically reloaded into the weapon. Now, this will trigger off of any single headshot whatsoever, not a headshot kill, you just headshot any guy. They're a pretty powerful option there. Now, in the actual stat screen here, we can see that this thing has a ×10 headshot multiplier and 3 magazine capacity and 3 ammo reserve with a 6 firepower. This weapon will simply one-shot pretty much anything. It is an incredibly powerful weapon. It is kind of absurd how much damage this actually does. You can nuke bosses, one-shot Tyranid warriors, one-shot melee warriors, even one-shot the new Chaos spawn. Now, the big, limiting factor here is how much can you actually hit your headshots, but that's kind of the point of a sniper rifle. This is one of the strongest snipers in the game currently, in my opinion. You can really just build full damage if you want, because theoretically, you could just headshot over and over and get all of your ammunition back no matter what, and this thing has effectively infinite ammo, and it will always get one shot back off of your versatile precision perk. I think this one actually feels great. If you have targeted shot with this, you do a ludicrous amount of damage on every headshot. This is the hardest hitting one, I believe, currently, and even if it's not, having this incredible damage on top of this infinite ammo, it's a great option. This is probably the one I'm going to pick up first when it actually comes to the live test server, or excuse me, the live patch, and overall, it's a great addition to the game. Now, what is not a great addition to the game, in my opinion, is the new heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol. This one has a 12 firepower, 4 accuracy, 3 rate of fire, 8 reloading speed, 2 piercing, 6 range, and a magazine capacity of 6 with an ammo reserve of 42. And the heroic perk effect is called No Help is Coming. Shooting an enemy with the status effect of Elite Stream stops it from calling for reinforcements. This perk sucks ass. I'm gonna be honest, this weapon is just not very good. It looks really cool, it just doesn't do a lot whatsoever. Stopping reinforcements in this game, it just does not matter that much, and really all you have to do to interrupt a reinforcement call in the first place is just shoot a guy in the face, and the other heavy bolters, or excuse me, the other heavy bolt pistols are already pretty good at that, so this is kind of redundant, doesn't help a ton, and the magazine capacity and ammo reserves on this are just trash, especially when the other ones already do pretty decent damage. Like a 12 firepower is pretty good, but a 4 accuracy is actually a worse accuracy on this one than the ammo reserve option. And if you're unaware, the heavy bolt pistol already has like one of the worst blooms in the entire game, so this is just not super great for us. I don't think this one is very good at all. I think it needs a buff, but we'll get into that eventually, hopefully, after the PTS is done. Now, the next one I'll talk about is the Instigator Bolt Carbine. This is the heroic version, the rat version, just like the Bolt Sniper Rifle has. The perk effect is called Higher Rate Burst. Fire rounds in higher rate burst. So this one has a 5 burst shot instead of a 3 like the standard Instigator. This one is pretty good. I don't think it's amazing. It has a 10 plus firepower, which is higher than all the other options, even the damage version. The ammo reserves are 180 and the magazine capacity is 30. The rate of fire is 10, which is also higher than all the other ones. So this one can dump out damage pretty well. The biggest problem I have with this one is the headshot multiplier is only 1.5 versus the 1.8 of the accuracy version. And this one also is just way more ammo conservative, because even though it has a lower ammo capacity total, this one is not very accurate and the burst will miss. Like all 5 rounds will occasionally not hit their target. They will spread out. It's pretty obnoxious, and only has a 4 accuracy versus the 9, which is a pretty big issue in my opinion. But that being said, it does pretty good damage. This might actually be better on Vanguard than Sniper, or like using a melee sniper. Now, I believe they also buffed the perk over here on Sniper, Targeted Shot, to last longer during the actual, like, the initial cloak you do. That way you can take a benefit for all the automatic weapons in the game. This one might benefit off of that, but overall, I just don't think the Instigator Bolt Carbine is super amazing, even though it's like, it might be a good point-blank weapon, but besides that, I probably just stick with the accuracy one personally, just because I like the ammo conservation here. Now, as far as the melee weapons go here, we do have a brand new, where is it? That's my, okay, we're fumbling. We have the new Thunder Hammer. Let's talk about this one first. This one has no name right now, or excuse me, Storm's Dominion. This one we can't actually select for whatever reason. This is a Fencing Thunderhammer with 11 plus strength, 8 speed, 6 clean potential, and defense stat fencing. Now, the only difference between this one over the standard fencing one is a 4 cleaving potential, and I'll be honest, a Fencing Thunderhammer with low damage is just not that strong in this game. You really want like a block or balanced one because damage matters a lot on the Thunderhammer. Now, the heroic perk effect here is Electrified Thunderclap. Fully charged attacks leave behind a shock grenade effect. Now, this could also include the ground slam, but I imagine when it's talking about like fully charged attacks, it's talking about aftershock, and just like patience rewarded, I would assume it works off a single charge. But either way, just having a shock grenade effect is not super amazing in this game, depending on how long it lasts. Now, if this lasts like the full length of a shock grenade, it could be pretty good. It might actually make up for like the 11 plus strength and 8 plus speed. Unfortunately, we can't personally test this currently. But as far as shock grenade effects in this game go, shock grenades are good. They do slow down enemies, but really, the AoE radius of the Thunderhammer got buffed last patch, and the block Thunderhammer already hits like a truck. Is it really worth giving up all that damage to have a little bit of like a shock grenade effect? This might be good on things like the Bulwark with Shock and Awe, but overall, this one does feel a little gimmicky to me, though to be honest, most of the heroic weapons feel a bit gimmicky. Could be pretty strong. Hopefully we get to test this at some point, but either way, if it's anything like defensive advantage, it's not going to be a very good perk, because I assume this one has a cooldown, even though it doesn't state here, but either way, not super strong. Now, something else that's not super strong is the new heroic Power Fist. This one has a 15 strength, 7 plus speed, 2 cleaving potential, and it has a defense type fencing. Now, the fencing fist is already the worst fist in the game just because it doesn't have great damage on the charge attacks. Charge attacks are overall the best effect on the power fist in general. And for the perk tree here, we have the follow-up shot heroic perk. Performing a finisher marks a nearby Majora's level or higher enemy for a gunstrike light attack, for a gunstrike, and light attack damage is increased by 100%, but charge attack damage is decreased by 50%. This is a pretty strange one. Now, the Gunstrike is kind of nice to get occasionally. You can trigger this off of things like Armor Reinforcement to get like that extra bonus damage, especially on Bulwark where you're not giving up the Overcharge perk down here for charge attack damage, because the charge attack damage may be lowered here by 50%, and the light attack damage is up by 100%, but the charge attacks are still okay on this because the Power Fist in general just hits like a truck. This one does have a 15 strength base stat versus the 13 of the other fencing version. Now, it's not incredible, like the 100% bonus light attack damage. I'll be real, guys, I use this weapon a bit. The 100% bonus damage you get from this does not matter, like, at all in my experience. I still find myself charge attacking all the time, because unfortunately, the charge attacks on this weapon are just so damn strong, and the range is so damn far, that there is really no reason to not use it in a lot of cases, and this one still can put out some pretty serious damage. The follow-up Gunstrike is kind of cool, but once again, a bit gimmicky, and even though I have a bit of an issue with Gunstrikes in this game in general, because if you're unaware, you cannot Gunstrike in this game, or excuse me, you cannot hip fire in this game while you have a Gunstrike active, so like sometimes the game will just drag you to a Gunstrike no matter what. That shit does suck, and it sucks here especially because you're forced into Gunstrikes all the time, but getting a finisher to mark a nearby Majora's or higher with a Gunstrike isn't terrible, because finishers really just count for like any Minoris in the game. Now, the worst part of this weapon really is just they're trying to make like a light attack focused Power Fist, when the Power Fist in this game right now is just not built for light attacks. Like, I want to know why they're trying to push this as like a heroic effect, because for the Power Fist light attacks to be good, you really have to like change the way the weapon functions like fundamentally, in my opinion, and light attacks in Space Marine 2 are just not very strong in general, and this is a charge attack weapon primarily, so kind of a bit of an interesting one. Not a horrific weapon by any means, just not super strong. Now, the final weapon I want to talk about here is the new, let me go back to the Accolade store and just show it here, just so we have like a nice little store reference here. The new Heavy Bolter. So this one is Chains of Duty. Perfect parry window increases by 50%. After a gunstrike, the weapon is completely cooled. Now, there's some hidden effects on this one. So with the Heavy Bolter, this one has no charge up rate for its like rapid fire, so you just go into the full fire rate immediately. This one feels like it fires faster, but like that's honestly just my delusion, because the fire rate here says only 8 plus on this one, and this one is 8. The venting speed is 2 plus on this, and that is not great, because we'll talk about this for a second, that This heroic perk effect, making it so your weapon completely cools on the gunstrike, is pretty good, but it's actually more so mandatory on this one because this weapon takes forever to cool down compared to the standard heavy bolters. It takes like 5 business days to actually cool off the weapon. So without a gunstrike, you are kind of cooked. You do need perks like this or the perk over here, perfect cooling, because it'll just take forever. And also on top of this 50% bonus parry window here sounds better than it actually is because unfortunately the heavy is locked to a balanced parry window, which means you have a 10 frame negative startup, which means you cannot parry for the initial frame of your parry window. You have to wait a bit, preemptively parry, and then you get an active parry window. And as far as I can tell, this window increase is only for that active window, so you still have to like preemptively parry, which does suck. A lot of people want like a fencing version of the heavy bolter, which would be way better, but unfortunately it's not what we got here. And as far as like use case scenarios for this fencing window go, or excuse me, this parry window goes, is that you can do things like catching a Ravener hit that would otherwise like chain stun you. There are moments in Space Marine 2 where preemptively parrying and having like a 75% bonus window, the prestige perk, can catch guys who would otherwise not in gunstrikes and stuff like that, and mainly Raveners and Whip Warriors and stuff like that, but not super strong if we're being honest. I still think the other heavy bolters are probably better, especially the accuracy version and the firepower version. Now that no startup on your cooldown, or excuse me, that no startup on your rate of fire is pretty nice on this, but the venting speed, I feel like it's just like an unnecessary thing. I feel like they nerfed the venting speed on this just so they can make it this perk is actually usable and useful, because if this one had like the normal venting speed of all the other versions, it would just not be that good at all, or excuse me, like this perk would just be kind of useless because you already cool down in 2 seconds. So instead they nerfed the venting speed, they made this thing heat up super fast and take forever to cool down, so they wanted to make this perk more useful, which is kind of a lame way to do it. I'll be real, this round of heroics doesn't feel as good as the last one. Like the Xenophase blade last time around was actually pretty damn strong in my opinion, and things like the heroic bolt pistol are also pretty strong. And now on the note of some buffs they did to some of the previous heroic weapons, we do have the Power Gladius now got a pretty fat buff. This effect now lasts for 1 second after the initial attack, and that's super useful to actually pick up some extra damage on like your heavy attacks and stuff like that. You no longer waste it on a single light attack, which was a pretty shitty thing in this game initially. But as far as this weapon goes, I think this one might feel a lot better. It's still stuck to a balance window, but as far as the new heroics are concerned, I feel like they need some serious buffs. But hey, this is a test server. We aren't in the official patch yet. They could fix a lot of these, but it does kind of feel like Saber is afraid to give us like really strong weapons for whatever reason. Because like, do we really think that a heavy bolter with like a fencing window is going to somehow be stronger than a multi-melta, a heavy plasma incinerator, or a pyre cannon? I don't think it will. I don't know if we're like kind of tiptoeing around seriously giving like OP effects to these things. We already have OP weapons in the game. I'm not saying we should buff up everything to like the busted level of a standard power fist, but having a an interesting perk effect that is quite strong on these weapons, I feel like that is pretty doable in this game without breaking anything. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about these heroic perk effects in the comment section below. And as always, thank you for watching and take it easy. Bye.